You can't keep getting away with it! He can't keep getting away with it! He won't.
Good afternoon, Who Dat Nation. Welcome to the WDN Chatline Podcast. It's the host CB. And today I will not be very long with this show. I have a lot of stuff I got to get done before the Saints continue their draft tonight with rounds 2 and 3. So, like I said, it won't be a long show. I just wanted to get on and pay my respects to our first round draft pick, Kelvin Banks Jr. Once again, welcome all. And I appreciate the ones that joined in last night with me and WD. Shout out to WD. He tagged along with me, man. And we thought we was gonna, have a joyous night. And like I said, it ain't no disrespect to our selection, but I will get into that after I go to the comment section. Shout out to the OG Jerry Poor in the building, WDNCB. Shout out to you, OG Jerry. Dope Carleon, shout out to you. You said, well, we still suck. Uh, we'll have to wait and see. I mean, we'll see what's gonna happen, man. The OG said, I like the pick. Jerry also said O-line was a need. Absolutely, fam. Um, Agree with all the comments. Think positive. Um, well, I just gotta wait and see. To be honest, well, first off, man, I would like to welcome Kelvin Banks Jr. to the Who Dat Nation. Kelvin Banks Jr. Um, it's nothing negative towards you or anything. I just felt like you could have been available at the bottom of the first round, near the upper 20s. So you still could have been selected from us. So this has nothing to do with Kelvin Banks Jr. as a player or anything. Absolutely, O line was, you know, yeah, we could have went that route. So it ain't got nothing to do with none of that. This is has everything to do when we could have picked them. Um, I believe we could have traded back up in the bottom of the first and still got this player. So it has nothing to do with the player. But for the ones that know, there was a lot of pieces that we could have got at 9 last night, but we went with Kevin Banks Jr. Once again, Kevin Banks Jr. Um, I hope you enjoy the Who Dat Nation, man. We're gonna welcome you with open arms. I welcome you with open arms. Um, so once again, I hope you enjoy what Kellen Moore has in store for you. But yeah, I just want to put that out, man. Like I said, this has nothing to do with Kelvin Banks. This just has everything to do with Mickey Loomis and the brass. And to be honest, like I said, I really didn't do a lot of in-depth scouting with the offensive line. I just knew the guy out of Missouri. I knew Will Campbell. Those was really the only two names that stood out for us, like, you know, top 10, top 10 prospects. I didn't hear Banks' name. Yeah, I know we had some interest in Banks. Once again, no disrespect, but I didn't see him as being a top 10. I believe Kevin Banks could have hung around to the low 20s. You know, if Banks was on their radar, it's nothing wrong with Banks being on the radar. It's just when we could have got him. Um, and once again, we could have hit a a two-person deal last night. I felt like we could have done that, but we decided to go this route. Offensive line, we know offensive line is a need. If you look at Penning, he just got declined his 5th-year option. So I get it. I know offensive line was a position of need. I say it was a position of need, but like I said, I felt like this guy could have been available on down later on in the first round. That's my only thing. It's no knock against the guy or anything. I do want to read this guy's scouting report from NFL.com. I'm gonna do that, and then I'm gonna get into some other things because we can potentially miss out on. We could have got an offensive guy and a defensive guy last night. But anyway, let me just for the ones that don't know Kelvin Banks, I'm kind of new to Kelvin Banks. Once he got drafted, the haters they start throwing that Georgia game up where old boy was, I think it was Jalen Walker or Mikael Williams. One of those guys was, going up against him. And it was kind of back and forth a little bit, but I got faith in the brass. I watched some of his tape last night. Like, I'm gonna be honest, I'm not about to act like I'm the smartest guy in the room and done studied every prospect. No, to be honest, I didn't look at this guy at all prior to getting drafted. Last night. So once he got drafted, of course I looked him up and everything. Um, NFL.com, they gave him a 6.43 prospect grade, and that's in the bracket of will become a good starter within 2 years. This is just according to a few scouts. And then they score breakdown. This was at the combine production score at 83. That ranked fourth out of all the offensive linemen there. Athletic score was a 78. That ranked seventh out of all the offensive linemen. And his total score was a 82, which ranks third out of all the offensive linemen. I will say that he won an award for the best offensive lineman um, this year. He did win a trophy for that. So, obviously the guy's not a slouch. He was graded to go in the first round. Um, but I felt like this guy could have been there at the bottom. That's just my opinion. And I felt like guys we missed out. I just start with the QB room. The QB room, you got Jackson Dart. I believe Jackson Dart was a killer more guy. They done a lot of scouting and stuff on him. I believe that's who Kellen Moore really wanted when it come between Dart and Sanders. Because if that was the case, if Sanders is who Kellen Moore really wanted, he would have traded up. First off, we would have been done made a trade with Cleveland by now, and it still can happen. But I feel like Dart was the guy. Dart was the guy, and I felt like they just wanted they tried to wait until the Giants. They waited too late, and the Giants went ahead and took the trade and traded up. But I felt like they could have got their guy Darts at 9, and then we get to about 22, 23. Then we could have traded up and got Kelvin Banks. So now we're in a position to where the Cleveland Browns is drafting tonight. I know we got the rest of the draft. I'm just talking about possible scenarios. The QB position, it stands out. It stands out because we don't know what's the future hold for Derek Carr. So yeah, we gotta have some type of hope and chance at that position, which we already do with Rattler. But we was in a position to get one of the top guys. And to be honest, Cleveland. I feel like Cleveland is about to get Shador tonight. So if Shador go off the board, it's no need, in my opinion, of us even getting that Tyler Show. I'm not interested in that. I feel like Spencer Rattler, just watching tape, Spencer Rattler's tape is more interesting than the Show guy from Louisville. And then another thing, there's no disrespect to Show or however you say his name, but First off, the guy turns 26 before training camp starts. So you talking about a 26-year-old, and just say if Derek Carr does come back, so you're gonna have Tyler Schultz sitting behind Derek Carr for a year, and he gonna be getting the mantle at 27. Did Drew Brees get the mantle at 27? Yes, but we can't look at every situation the same. Brees was already, solidified in the league to an extent. He wasn't the Drew Brees that he finished out to be, but he had years in the league under his belt before he came to the Saints. So all the little rookie growing pains, he already had been through that in San Diego. But this Tyler Schultz, then we got to go through the growing pains with him at 27. Is it worth all of that? I'd rather just take the chance with Spencer Rattler. So to be honest, if we do not get Shador, at 40 or I don't know how they're gonna do it. I'll just say if we don't get Shador, whether we trade up and get him or set there at 40, whatever we do, and we don't get him, the only QB that I would like for us to get is Jalen Milroe. And the only reason why is because his potential. It's all about potential in some cases. Either way it go, if Derek Carr comes back and just say we draft Shador is going to be sitting for a year behind Derek Carr. You know, if Derek Carr don't get hurt, and then Shador gonna take it the following year. That's how I wanted to play out for the 100th time. That's how I believe this should play out. I would love for it to play out instead of throwing a rookie out in the mud. But we might be in a position like that where the rookie got to go out in the mud year one. But let's just put QB to the side. Let's just put QB to the side. At number 9, you had Jalen Walker there. If you guys been listening to me, I've been ramping about the linebacker position. We don't have no depth there. Willie Gay is gone. Jackson, I don't know if he's gonna take that leap or not, but we don't know what he's gonna do because we hadn't seen him on the field this season, this off season. So as it currently stands right now, you got Demario Davis, which you don't know if you're gonna see the decline going into this season, or is he gonna continue? It's an unknown. We can't just guarantee that he gonna continue to play because Father Time gonna hit everybody at some point. That's just the reality of the game. So then, okay, if that decline start happening, then you go to who? You're gonna go to Pete Warner. Pete Warner, is he available? Has he been available for us like that? We done seen the flashes and stuff like that. We done seen all of that. When he's healthy and he's actually locked in, we seen what he can do. But the thing is, he gotta stay healthy. He gotta stay healthy. So linebacker was another position. So with me, like I said, this ain't all about just the QB, the QB. As far if to keep it hot, offensive line, we shouldn't even be in this position where we had to go with another O line. To be honest, so I just hope this pick. I hope they study on this guy, and we don't strike out once again at the offensive line position. But I had to get on here and get Kelvin Bates his official welcome, from a Saints fan, because I'm not about to. This has nothing to do with Banks. I'm not about to talk down on him or anything like that. I just felt like we could have got him in the later part of the first round. He still would have been there. We definitely could have got the guy in the lower teens, early 20s. Doug Carleon said O-line wasn't the biggest need at 9. We could have at least took Walker from Georgia. Bit facts, fam. And like I said, O-line, if you look at it, and be like, well, you can't go wrong right there, from going that position. Excuse me, that's true. That's true. But I believe we got more other glaring needs that stand out. Because if push come to shove, we could have waited to the later rounds and got Teron Armstead. Was he a first round Jim? This guy came out of Arkansas Pine Bluff, so we could have got a tackle or something maybe in the second or third, or we could have done it the way I just said. We could have just waited until the later part of the first and traded back up. So you got a situation. If Derek Carr don't play, then we got Spencer Ratliff. Well, Spencer Ratliff. That gives me a little hope. We just gotta hope the guy, coming back year two, ready to go. That's one position that's gonna be a concern if Derek Carr don't come back. Not saying Derek Carr was, the gem at that position, but he wasn't no all the way scrub. Just honest, he was average. Okay, now we go to the linebacker position. Like I just said with Jalen Walker, we could have went that route. Just say if DeMario comes to camp and you start to see that decline in the play. If you start to see that, then what is we looking like at the linebacker position? If I'm not mistaken, a 3-4. That's you know I mean, the 3-4 system, you can run it a few different ways. You can still have your outside linebackers standing up pass rushing, which they could do with Chase Young, have him as an outside linebacker pass rusher. I don't know how he's gonna, finesse that up in situations where you can put him at outside linebacker and then use another in where his normal spot would be and just rush the pass. I don't know. I don't know how he gonna do that. But all I'm saying, man, is other positions could have been addressed. It could have been addressed, but it is what it is. This is where we're at. Um, do I like the pick? I mean, if the pick plays out pretty good, do I like that they went to the position at 9? No, I don't. I don't like that. I don't like that we went offensive lineman at pit 9. Like I said, this guy could have been. Now, if they would have went Will Campbell at 9 or something like that, that's better understood. But like I said, this guy's name, to my understanding, wasn't ringing bells like that. Now there's no top 10 guy, and I know you had some guys, even like a Jackson Dart, that was projected to go late in the first, and then they hop in the top 10. I get that, but all I'm saying tonight, if we don't get Shador, if Shador goes to the Cleveland Browns, we need to get Jalen Milroe. If we get Tyler Shough, I mean, we wasting time and picks. And age do has something to do with it. Brandon Whedon, you see how that played out with him. I think he was 26, 27 when he got drafted to the Browns. That's you talking about Shador is 21. So you talking about 21 to 26. And just look at like the Patrick Mahomes and stuff. Patrick Mahomes came in the league at 21. Man already had double digit Super Bowl wins before turning 27, 28. And just look how much more football he got left to play. He got a whole nother decade of football to play. We get this guy, he gonna have a decade of football. Just say if he does it, say a decade of football, and then he hitting 37, 38. Like, come on now. But for the 100th time, this has nothing to do with Banks, man. And Banks, we're gonna welcome you, all of that. All of that, man. But at the end of the day, we could have went another position and got Banks at the bottom of the first. I feel like the man would have been there at the bottom of the first. But that's pretty much it. Who that nation, man. Like I said, I didn't want to be on too long. I got a lot. Like I said, I got a lot of errands to get done today. This is gonna be an important draft night tonight. Will we trade up at 33? To be honest, if we don't trade up to 33, I feel like Shador gonna go to Cleveland because you got a Deshaun Watson situation going on. He about to miss this. I don't know if they gonna stick with Deshaun Watson or not. But even just say if they plan to go past, move on from Deshaun Watson after this season because he's not playing, you still got Joe Flacco up there. So you got Shador that can sit behind Joe Flacco for a year. Joe Flacco, he is still playing solid football for his age. Shador gonna go up there, sit behind Joe Flacco for a year, and then it's time for Shador to lead that franchise the 26th season. Jalen Milroe, if we go that route, my hopes is Shador done drop. Like I said, unless we do a trade or something. So I'm not even like WD reminded me last night, man. I'm not about to get all emotional about this because this is the moves and stuff we make and where we make it. This is nothing surprising to us. This is nothing surprising for us to go offensive lineman again with a top pick. That's not surprising. Not saying that offensive lineman wasn't a need, but obviously we didn't hit with our first rounder. With our first rounder O line besides Fuaga. Yeah, Fuaga. Yeah, he on pace to be a Pro Bowl player. How many times we gonna keep going first round offensive lineman? Unless it's for unless he's a sure thing. If Banks was a sure thing, he would have been up there with Will Campbell and them. I'm talking about just coming into the draft. He can still become a sure thing. Teron Armstead, he wasn't in the lottery pits of offensive linemen. So at the end of the day, whether you the first pick, whether you Travis Hunter or you still gotta show up and play at the end of the day. You still gotta show up and play. But I'm not shocked that we went that route. And then they watched the guy just go to the Giants. You see the Giants traded back. Giants had an awesome first round. I'm talking about as it currently stands. Once again, the player has to go out and perform. We know this, but I'm talking about at this point right now, what it's looking like. The Giants, you got Jackson Dart, and the situation they got up there in New York. He gonna sit. He gonna sit this first year, so he ain't gonna get thrown in the fire. So he gonna sit the first year, and then they got another guy slipping my mind, a solid piece. So they got a 2-for-1. No, I'm tripping. They got Carter. So they got Carter on the defensive line, and then they got Jackson Dart. Imagine what the future holds for them two. That's solid. That's a solid first round. Another team, we don't want to say it, is the Atlanta Falcons. The Atlanta Falcons, they had a solid draft too. A solid first rounder. They got the guy that I wanted. If we didn't go QB, Jalen Walker was a guy that I wanted. So they got my guy. And then they traded up and got James Pierce Jr. And James Pierce Jr., his draft dropped because of some off the field issues. So could this be another Carter situation that Philly done last year? I mean, I hope not, because the man in our division. But just stuff like that, man. Stuff like that. Shout out to St. John Butler. Welcome, fam. You said, I think 33 is owned by Cleveland. No, yes, Cleveland has the 33rd pick. If I'm Cleveland, I would get Shador Sanders unless they gonna trade with somebody. But if I'm Cleveland, I would pick Shador. Deshaun was hurt this past year, and then he about to be hurt again. He retore his Achilles. I would start first with Shador. And the situation you're in now, you got Joe Flacco that can play this season. Let him learn behind a vet like Joe Flacco. That's an awesome situation to be in. Because who else would they get on this board? I'm talking about this about to change their franchise at 33. And you got a first rounder sitting right there that didn't get drafted last night. I mean, I know you got Will Johnson, um, Mike Green, yeah. But you got Shador sitting right there. You might as well go get him if I was Cleveland. But for the New Orleans Saints, and I'm gonna say this, then I'm gonna go ahead and wrap it up. I want to open the phone lines up, but I can't do that today. I got, like I said, I want to be tuned in tonight, so I gotta handle some stuff. I will say this about us though: if we do not get Shador Sanders at 40, or if we don't trade up and get him or anything like that, I do not want Tyler Show. The guy's too old. Could he become solid? I mean, he could, but I do not want Tyler Show. If we do not get Shador, I would rather just take the chance and take Jalen Milroe if we're gonna go QB, because the Saints had some interest in Milroe. I would rather just take Jalen Milroe because I mean, as of right now, is he up there with the Shador? No, he's not. But is his potential up there? Absolutely. First off, the guy's running what, a 4.3 something 40, like, so he has that. He's going to be able to escape the pocket and stuff like that. So he has that. So you tell me we just can't set him a year, work on his mechanics, throwing mechanics and stuff, getting his accuracy and stuff in check, and he can't come out and compete next year? I'll take that gamble over the show guy. To be honest, I'll take that gamble. Please, Saints, do not get Tyler Show. I don't care what everybody's saying about him, and is he the gem of his age? He's 5 years older than the average guys. Cam Ward 21. I think he just had a 21st birthday. Shador 21, 22, something around there. Like, come on now. I don't want no 26-year-old, man. That's too old to start a NFL career at quarterback. Because you gotta have the growing pain. You gotta have that type of situation going on. Unless you just get the luxury of sitting behind, but he can't afford to set a year at that age. Once again, I'm gonna repeat it. Drew Brees started for us at 27, but he had prior years of starting for San Diego. So all his rookie pain, all that kind of stuff was out of Drew. Drew just elevated himself as a ball player after that injury. That's what happened with that. It had nothing to do with he went through growing pains or no. He just decided he was gonna get better as a player, and he was still in that window. Obviously, it was the ceiling that he did not reach in San Diego that he reached when he got to New Orleans. But that's it. Who that nation? Like I said, I mean, yeah, obviously we gotta live with the pig, but I mean, it's not about just living with the pig. It's about the stupidity that's going on within the front office. I get it. Yes, offensive line, beefing up the offensive line. There's nothing wrong with that. This guy could have been there. in the mid-20s. In my opinion, he could have been there in the 20s. So this is just how I feel, man.
You can't keep getting away with it! He can't keep getting away with it! He won't.
And on that note, Who That Nation, I'll see you guys tomorrow sometime, man. Or maybe tonight. Recapping. I'm gonna be honest. Depending on what we do tonight, I'm gonna try to get on tonight. If I can't tonight, then I'm gonna just wait and recap rounds 2 through the rest, and just recap the draft as a whole. So, Who That Nation, let's just lock in. The draft is not over. We still can make some noise. I see Will Johnson on the board. I see Shadul on the board. Highly doubt he's gonna make it to us unless we trade up. It's some other name, Mike Green on the board. We still gotta, look at a pass rush and stuff like that. It's places where we can go. So, with that being said, Who That Nation, you guys have a good draft night number 2, and I'll be around. I'm out. Who that?